Have you ever heard of an Indian project that costs around 2.7 billion US dollars? Today we're going to talk about one of the most impressive mega projects in India. Welcome back to Mindless and get ready to blow your mind. It's an ambitious project of the Narendra Modi-led NDA government at the center, which aims to redevelop a 3.2-kilometer stretch called the Central Vista that lies at the heart of Lutyens, Delhi, built by the Britishers in the 1930s. The Central Vista was first designed by architects Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker when the capital of the British Raj was moved from Calcutta to Delhi. This is the design for India's new government district, which is currently being built. The Indian government is planning a massive redevelopment project in New Delhi, the country's capital. On the other hand, the new government buildings will not be built in a new location. Wherever the current administrative center, which includes the Indian Parliament as well as the official seat of the Indian President, will be completely renovated, with total costs estimated to be around 2.7 billion US dollars. And this project represents a long-awaited renewal process. The Central Vista was designed when India was part of the British Empire. The British imperial government decided in 1911 to relocate the capital of the British Indian Empire from Calcutta to Delhi. The reason for this was strong nationalist protest in Calcutta, which put the colonial government in an awkward position. A new administrative area was to be built in a location that had previously served as a regional political center. The architects created the Kingsway or Rajpath, a ceremonial axis along which parks and government buildings are located. Lutyens was inspired by some of the world's most famous avenues, including Champs-Élysées in Paris, which leads to the Arc de Triomphe at one end. In turn, Lieutenant Kingsway leads to the All India War Memorial, known as India Gate. The National Mall in Washington, D.C., the seat of the EU, served as yet another excellent source of inspiration. An approximately 3.5-kilometer-long core axis separates the two cities. The capital, the seat of Congress, is located on one end of the Washington Mall, and both centers are geometrically identical, with shorter cross-axis and diagonal streets connecting to the major thoroughfare. Viceroy's House, the official residence of the representative of the British monarch, is located on one end of the central axis in New Delhi. The setting in which these two administrative centers were built is fundamentally different, even if parallels in their architecture are immediately apparent. After all, Washington, D.C. was built from the ground up to serve as the nation's capital following American freedom. Delhi, one of the oldest cities in the world, is where the administrative center of India first appeared. The British established their seat of administration here, tying their monarchy to the extensive history of the subcontinent. New Delhi was built at the behest of colonial authority, but Washington was the outcome of liberty. Following India's independence, Delhi's administrative district was designated as the country's administrative hub, and when several of the buildings had to change their functions, it was further developed. The Viceroy's residence became Rashtrapati Bhavan, the official residence of India's president. Both houses of India's democratically elected parliament are currently housed in the same building that once served as the Imperial Legislative Council's residence. In the meantime, the city's population was growing, and this region was under tremendous growth pressure. Although new office buildings were built, there was no clear plan for how the region should evolve. The country's national landmark today is unquestionably the Central Vista. The Republic Day procession is held annually on January 26 in the parks, which have grown to be a major social meeting area. As a result, the Indian government chose to completely reconstruct the area. The future of Central Vista was planned by the architecture firm HCP under the guidance of Indian architect Bimal Patel. The Parliament building is in structurally poor condition and is too small for the needs of modern Indian democracy. As a result, a brand new structure will be built next to the current Parliament. The new Parliament is triangular as opposed to the old one's circular shape. However, it makes several references to concepts found in the layout of the existing Parliament. The current Parliament building is made up of three facing semicircles. The House, two legislative chambers, as well as a library. There is a common hall in the center from which you can access the various rooms. There are various courtyards in between these halls. A circle encircles the entire structure, providing office space. Similarly, the new Parliament will have office space that faces the outside. However, by reducing the courtyard area, the space is used significantly more effectively inside. As previously stated, the Secretariat buildings are insufficient to house all of the ministries. Many of the buildings that currently line the Rajpath and house additional offices are in poor structural condition. These structures will thus be demolished to make way for a massive new central secretariat. This should bring together all of the Indian government's ministries in one location. Each of these large buildings will have a courtyard in the center that'll serve as a meeting and relaxation space. Architects have planned underground electric people movers that'll stop at each office building to make commuting to work easier. Furthermore, a central conference center is being constructed to accommodate larger events. It'll include several auditoriums as well as conference and seminar rooms. Rajpath also houses the National Archive building. This currently consists of an old Loitens building from the imperial period as well as a newer building added later. The old building will be renovated as part of the current redevelopment, but it'll continue to serve its purpose. The newer structure will be demolished and replaced. The Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, a significant government-funded cultural institution in this nation, is currently situated along the Rajpath as well. The center will need to relocate because the existing structures will be torn down to make room for a new central secretariat. On the India Gate Circle, a new building for the institute will be constructed. The National Museum is another structure that must be demolished to make room for the new central secretariat. However, the current secretariat building no longer serves a purpose because all ministries are now unified under this central secretariat. Therefore, it is intended to move the National Museum to these two much larger structures. Then the new National Museum will have 3 times the space that it does now. Additionally, according to architect Patel, who's in charge of the redevelopment, this move is indicative of the people's authority in a democracy. The government buildings were situated in Raisina Hill, and the original secretariat was built on an elevation by the British. However, the arrangement now reflects the rule of the people in an independent India, thanks to the current plan to transform these buildings into a public museum and relocate the central secretariat along Rajpath. Patel's plan also relocates the vice president and prime minister's residences. The prime minister's residence is currently located outside of Central Vista. This new arrangement not only brings these office holders closer together, but also reflects India's political hierarchy. The seat of the president, the highest-ranking office in the country, is centrally located. On one side of the president, there will be the seat of the vice president, and on the other, the seat of the prime minister, who, despite having the most political power, ranks third in the nation's ceremonial hierarchy. The new prime minister's office is next to this mansion, and both the old and new parliaments are placed exactly across from each other. Finally, the Rajpath, the main axis, and its parts will receive a major makeover. The tourist experience will be enhanced by the installation of new landscaping, comprehensive facility renovations, and pedestrian underpasses. In India, the Central Vista redevelopment project is a contentious issue that has drawn condemnations from a wide range of groups. In India, questions about the project's ambitions are frequently raised. This region is steeped in Indian history and the British Raj. Some critics see the project as an attempt to erase colonial history from this location, and thus from collective memory. Others believe that the design is too restrained and lacks vision. Much of the criticism also relates to the timing of the implementation of this prestigious project. Because the government is spending a significant amount of money on this project at a time when the country is facing life-threatening challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic, some believe that the timing of this project is also inappropriate given the current state of Indian democracy. In a controversial move, the US-based organization Freedom House, which monitors the state of democratic institutions around the world, recently downgraded India from a free democracy to a partly free democracy. Nonetheless, the project is currently under construction, even though discussions will undoubtedly last a long time. 74 years after independence, this redevelopment ensures that India's political center reflects modern India's ambitions. So that's the $2.7 billion capital project. But do they really need to build it right now? Is this actually a good time to spend $2.7 billion on this project? Do share your thoughts in the comment section. I hope you guys liked the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon right next to it.